What's up, YouTube? So I'm about to teach all of y'all how to work with microtones, but I'm gonna shoot the intro while I'm on my bike because I like to film on my bike, not because you like to watch me film on my bike. But being outside is dope, you know, especially during the quarantine, so we out here. Anyhow, so basically, if you don't know what microtonal music is, it's like this realm of music, and it's like low-key cursed, because like it doesn't have 12 tones, so people think that it's like trash and that it's invalid and that you should never write microtonal music or ever play microtonal music, or that there's ever a point in writing or playing microtonal music. And then people critique them and call them basically they call them like ethnocentric, because like a lot of microtonal music is like from non-Western cultures. But like there are ways to do microtonal music like outside of those traditional like ethnic methods, like Indonesian music and like gamelan and all of that is an example, or like the maqam Arabic music modes, which use like quarter tones, or something similar to what Westerners conceptualize as quarter tones in their scales, or like Turkish music, which is like kind of like that but like with a spin on it, or like Indian music, which has like has these modes called the ragas and these rhythmic modes called the talas, and it's kind of like that also, except for the difference there is basically that you're dealing with more tones that are like further away from an actual like quarter step, quote unquote. But anyway, microtonal music has applications way beyond just these traditional ethnic modes, quote unquote ethnic, and like, you know, 12 tone music and all. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So now that I'm in a less busy part of the neighborhood, one of the big applications of microtonal music is theory centered around just intonation. So if you don't know, like the set of intervals that 12-tone music implies is not like necessarily completely substantiated by 12 equal distances of 100 quote-unquote cents between a 1200 cent octave. In fact, a lot of the intervals are actually like approximations of these tunings, so the larger part of microtonal theory is actually just like basically people try to find like cleaner explanations for the intervals. I'm just gonna have like a hot take on that real quick. I think they're kind of wasting their time, like not completely of course, because like it's legit and all. Like obviously if you have a major third, it sounds like more consonant if it's 14 cents flat. Like you just gotta look at like a graph of like sine waves, or like really like you can like put some calculations into like an Excel spreadsheet like I did. I'll link that down below. But and you can figure out like the different tunings of like the Western like 12-tone intervals, like how offset they are from their just tunings. You can look at the Excel spreadsheet and figure that out. Even modify the parameters for like other tuning systems if you wish. But anyway, I think they're kind of wasting their time, because like there is like a certain satisfaction we derive, probably more performance wise and like ease and speed of composition, more than the actual like sound of the music, admittedly. But there's definitely also in the sound of the music like a satisfaction and a simplicity we derive from the notes being like an equal space apart. And when you introduce like just intonation, all that goes out the window because you're putting the notes an unequal space apart. But I'm gonna focus on basically like alternative systems of just intonation in this video tutorial of how to play them on your keyboard. What's up, YouTube? I'm going to be shooting exactly how you do this on the Roland Juno DS88. We got it right here. Let's go to, we're on, right out of the box. It's playing a piano sound right now. Just FYI on the rest of my setup, I got mix board right here, the looper pedal right here, and we got the amp down there and all that. So anyhow, let's get into it. So you're playing a note, let's say, I'll use the damper pedal for demo. You play a chord, then you go over here, you see. So that does like a little pitch bend thing, but normally right out of the box you get like, basically it's like negative a whole step either way. But you can make it a little bit more conducive to microtones. Unfortunately, I really wish Roland did it so that you could get it smaller than this. But you can go into menu. So there, I clicked the menu key right there. And then go into this little thing. You say edit, enter, patch edit, enter. Then you go into the pitch bend range up and the pitch bend range down, and this is universal across all your oscillators. All your 4 oscillators. I could do a whole video on how this like synth things works basically in the keyboard, but it's universal. Right now it's set to 2. You can dial it back to 1 or 0. I don't know why you'd want 0 unless you're gonna have like your little brother like poking at your little whammy thing on the side every other 2 seconds or something. But now that you have it -1, let's use that good old damper pedal just for demo because I'm holding the cam with one hand. See, now you get a little more microtonal action. Let's find a more sustained sound and try this again real quick just for demo. Okay, here we got some strings. Menu. Edit, patch edit, then we got that pitch bend range up and pitch bend range down. So I mean, primarily this thing's like intended for like vibrato. That's really like the intent, or like doing some like country slides, like this, this boy right here, like. I don't know, like some like country guitar type stuff. That's like the main function, but you can use it for microtones. But that's not a very good method because this thing doesn't have any notches or anything. It just has the middle, the side, and this. And there's no way to make it smaller than 100 cents that I know of. If you do know, leave in the comments how to do it and inform us. But anyway, let's adjust them back to normal. And I will show you the second method of doing microtones, which is via looper pedal. So this is actually, you can do this within the Juno DST if you're looping on these pads over here, because there are ways to like basically live loop on the pads, but it's not free time. All of it is like basically like all the recordings are like quantized. So what that means is like you have to basically predetermine how long your loop excerpt is going to be if you want to do this. So for like improvisation or like composition, not really ideal. And also the process to get these to work, I don't even know it because I just have a looper pedal and I use that. But like I do know that when I've tried to do it before, it's like super like, it's involved. It's involved. It's harder than doing it on like a sampler or something. Got my little sampler right there, black box. But here's what you can do. You can, so if you don't know, you can go, I already have it set up. But these knobs, like where it says like assign 1, assign 2, assign 3, assign 4, those are like really like variable. So you could basically assign a lot of different parameters to the knobs, and one of which you can assign is the tuning, basically. So I'll go to patch perform so you can see, and I have it assigned to a knob 1, pitch bend, right here. And so this can adjust basically how much the pitch bends, and 64 is a whole step as far as my ears are concerned. Oh shoot, they don't even have 64. But yeah, that sounds like a C sharp to me, boys. Yeah, so basically, if you know that 64 is a whole step, then you can say 32 is, for instance, or sorry, I've been saying whole step. I mean 65, 64, that's like a half step. So 32, there you got a quarter step. So basically a quarter tone up right now. So if you got your looper pedal down here, Vox Low Looper, best $170 I ever spent. Man, that changed the way I make music. Definitely recommend. Maybe don't if you're like a snob, because there is some quality issues, but it's not that bad. It functions. It works great for what it is. Anyway, you got let's try to play a natural third chord. So here's how you do it. And see, we're looping like the little fifth I just played. That's cool and dandy. But if we want a natural third, now bear in mind all the keys are a quarter tone up right now. Let's turn this knob back to 0, and then just play what a major third would normally be. So basically, I just like overdubbed the third in the 0 tuning with the fifth in the plus the quarter tone tuning, and now we have a natural chord. So that's just like an idea you can use if you want to do quarter tone chords in a way that works like that. But there's a more interesting and better microtonal way I want to show y'all. It's really revolutionized the way I'm composing right now. So you go in, you go, oh yes, before we get to that, you might not already have that linked to your assign knob. So if you don't know how to do that, I'll show you how to do that real quick. Basically, menu. Yes, I'm making a YouTube video. That was my mom. Menu system. We got oh, it sounds like my dad's home. We got going through all these tabs here. There's the tabs that says knobs. So it's like knob 1 assigned, knob 2 assigned, knob 3 assigned, etc. And I have knob 1 assigned set to pitch bend. So if you want to change that, just highlight pitch bend, press enter. You have all these like options, and I think you can also make your own. I haven't had this all that long, so I haven't really made any of my own. But yeah, that's how you get the knob to work like that. And then you press right, system right completed. And then your knob goes bendy. Yeah. So anyway, third method. Now we have our, this is just sake of demonstration, we'll get like player's EP. Little EP sound. So we got that going. Let's go into menu. Edit. We're going to be editing the patch again. Editing the patch. And then go up to pitch key follow. So you see here, like, you have some oscillators checked. Whatever's not checked isn't going to sound like anything. Whatever is checked is. And my recommendation when you do this is you have to make sure, unless you're going for something really spicy, that each of your pitch key follows are at the same number. And right now they're all at 100, and that's in cents. So that means your pitch is basically like going to change by 100 cents whenever you change keys. But you can change that. So let's see what happens when we go 110. See, look, I'm playing an octave. I'm playing a seventh on the keyboard, like on the keys, but it sounds like an octave. What I've effectively done is I've created an 11 equal denominator octave tuning system. 11 EDO, and now I'm playing on this keyboard. And that allows for some real interesting things. But yeah, you can get like a lot of interesting capabilities when you use this method. So let's compare that to normal 12 tone real quick. The sonorities we all know and love. And then you can back to 11, 110. 110 basically 110 basically means there's 11 steps in an octave, and then let's say we wanted 120, then we'd be going 10 steps in an octave. And a helpful hint, if it's an even number, you'll have a tritone, like a tritone that's like 50 cents out, like the normal tritones we're used to cringing at. So there's your tritone. But yeah, 10 is some interesting stuff. You can kind of get like this little Arabic thing going if you go like, basically use like a, what do you call it, like an octatonic, like an octatonic third type deal, I guess is the best way to phrase it. So instead of sounding like an octatonic type deal, separated by a major third, it's like separated by a fourth now. But the seconds are different, so it's like a little bit, the fourth is like a little bit off, but like the seconds are different, and that gives it a really interesting character. So like that's a lot different than what we're used to hearing in 12 tone music. And I think that's the power of these alternate EDOs, really, is like it comes down to the seconds a lot. Especially, let's go back to 11 real quick. Like, let me show y'all something y'all probably never thought of unless you really do the math on things. So let me play this for you. Doesn't sound too great. It's a minor second or a minor seventh. Now obviously I'm playing like one less. I'm playing, or major seventh is like the interval, but I'm playing a minor seventh. But anyway, you hear that, and you're like, huh. But then you hear it in the normal, like the 12 tone. It is way more out of tune in the 12 tone than it is in the 11 EDO. In fact, it's almost perfectly in tune for the interval it is, which is a pretty weird ratio of like either 15 to 8 or 16 to 1, depending on which inversion it is. It's actually like super close to like correct in 11 EDO, but in 12 EDO it's like kind of out of tune, like almost as out of tune as thirds are in 12 EDO. So go back to 10, 120. If you put them at 120, you get that 10. You just cut that in half, and now you have 5 EDO. So let's play like a whole tone scale on that. Now I'm ready to make some gamelan music, boys. Hey, wonky stuff out here, wonky stuff. Now, let's try a couple more. Well, we probably should have tried this first, actually. Because to some people, quarter tone is like the most accessible form of microtones. I don't agree with that. At least from the listener's perspective, certainly not. Maybe from conceptually. But yeah, so you put it at 50. You get basically like a scale of quarter tones over here. So you can play like, that would be a fifth, and then natural third chords. You could play like a super minor chord, super major, etc. You can play tritones that are now in tune, like with what a tritone should be, which is like there or there. Wait, no, it would be like, yeah, like there or there. This is like the normal tritone. Because the tritone, like, technically the tritone is actually, like, people get this wrong all the time. The tritone is actually a difference between the fifth harmonic and the seventh harmonic. Like, okay, if you're playing with like maybe brass instruments or like saw waves, you get like a little bit of the other stuff going because of basically like whenever you have a harmonic that's not like a derivative, that's not like a note against like the octave, like the root note, things are going to be weird with like the upper harmonics because they're not going to line up as often and all. That's like a very complicated discussion, but like really if you're working with anything in the realm of like the sine wave and whatnot, the tritone ratio is it's not very in tune, and it wasn't that constant as an interval to begin with, but it really is like the seventh harmonic against the fifth harmonic. But the 11th harmonic is kind of like a tritone, but it's completely not. It's like almost a quarter tone out, so this allows us to play like in tune, quote unquote, tritones or 11th harmonics. They're like well approximated. And really, I think if you ask me, like the 11th harmonic, how it interacts with the notes around it, like in the octave above that in particular, it's really how we at least get like quarter tones to show up in the harmonic series. So if I'd really have to give you an estimate, I think that most of the quarter tones that we know, most of those ratios besides the 11th harmonic and then the natural second, which would be the 11th harmonic to the 12th harmonic, like that deal right there. Like most of the quarter tone ratios are derived from numbers in like the high teens to low 20s as far as like their ratios, because they usually come about in like that aspect of that area of the harmonic series. But anyway, that's like fun fact. Any talk of real ratios is oversimplified and based on like wave theory versus actual instrumentation. Disclaimer. Anyway, let's look into like one or two more tuning systems here. I think you set these boys to like 80, I think it is. Yeah, 80 gives you 15 EDO. And if you're like crazy, you can get like 30 EDO with 40, or like even like some really low ones. Like you can get whatever it is. I think you can get like 20 EDO with 60. That's actually pretty helpful, pretty relevant. And then like I'm trying to show off a 7. The 7 isn't very precise, or I think it might be. Yeah, no, the 8's precise, but the 7 is not. If you set it to 170, you can get something resembling a 7 EDO. That's also like a gamelan type sound. There we go. It's like I'm playing a scale, but all of the notes are in equal distant apart. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, anyway, just have fun. Experiment with this little key follow parameter down here. And yeah, enjoy, explore the different equal denominator tuning systems, and otherwise just explore. It's more theory to explore, more to compose with, more to listen for. So I'm going to conclude this video by stating the obvious. Sorry, I just don't know what the fuck that guy's doing back there. But anyway, the point of using these altered tuning systems is not to get more consonant sounding music. It can be, but not with these guys that I showed you. The point is to get music that sounds distinctly different from music in the EDO 12, which is like equal divisions of the octave 12. Because I've done the calculations on this, and the 12-tone equal tempered system is actually like amazingly consonant. Like I think using obviously like loose parameters, I think I calculated that like the chance of something with that few notes, like if music were a random process, which it's obviously not. This is obviously like some form of intelligent design, if you will theorize, but like if music were like a random process, then the chance that you would have a 12-tone equal tempered tuning system in like a given universe that approximates the intervals it does as precisely as it does, like intervals that simple, is like ridiculously low. It's like 1 in 8 or 1 in 9. So like barely over a 10% chance of that happening in some like theoretical alien universe. So if you put that in perspective, that's kind of like, I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you're probably in like a developed country, like a first world country. Maybe you're not, and that is totally cool. Very welcome on the channel. But if you're watching this video from like a developed country, that's like about as likely as you were to have been born in that developed country. I mean, it's like a miracle, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, in conclusion, enjoy using these experimental modes that have much different palettes of intervals than just the most consonant possible, and enjoy the fact that you can work within such an alien space. And with that, I'll leave y'all to it. Peace out.